Thank you for listening to this PodcastOne production. Now available on Apple Podcasts, PodcastOne, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.
The following program is a PodcastOne.com production.
From Hollywood, California, by way of the Broken Skull Ranch, this is the Steve Austin Show.
Give me a hell yeah.
Hell yeah! Now, here's Steve Austin.
Out in Hollywood, California, hanging with my man Mo. Mo, how are you today?
Oh, I'm doing good, man. It's a good day today.
How was the traffic on your drive in? I got a little jambled up there. There's a lot of construction going on the streets of Los Angeles.
Yep.
It really gets under my skin. You know, I'm a fanatic about driving. I'm not going to bitch about it or complain about it today, but how was your drive in?
I'm lucky. I used to live in your neck of the woods. I don't anymore. It's only a 10-minute drive, but I don't want to break your heart here, but I just saw something on the news. They're looking to re-expand the 405, which is going to make your life hell.
Man, there's a lot of things I wanted to hear. I just won $1 million or some kind of anything like that, but that's one thing I did not want to hear. But, you know, I was thinking about it, Mo. I was thinking, Mo Darwish. Hey, what's your Twitter handle?
At Mo Darwiche, MoDarwiche.
And I was thinking, man, that's Mo. I gotta have, everybody got to have a nickname. So I said, I got a nickname for Mo. You know what your nickname is?
I want to hear it.
Gimme. Give me Mo. Give me Mo. Whether it works for you, it doesn't work, it's going to stick with you until I decide to change it, because you know how nicknames go. You just can't make up your own nickname, can you?
No, you can't. It's given to you.
Yeah, so whether it's cool or bad, actually, give me Mo. Give me Mo. I like it. Do you like it?
I love it, actually. That's pretty good. You know, so I get so many nicknames like Mo Money, Mo Problems, all these other nicknames. But I've never had Gimme Mo, and I like that.
Give me Mo. You got to have a girlfriend that says, give me Mo. We'll keep it on the up and up. I got a very special guest today, and I'm going to tie this in with the word of the day. Because, man, everybody knows I come from the world of pro wrestling. That is what just excites me. It's where the world that I come from is what I know and love. And today's word of the day is actually an acronym. Today's word of the day is GLOW, which is G-L-O-W. That stands for Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. Now, the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling, also known as GLOW, was a professional wrestling promotion for women which began in 1986. The pilot was filmed in December 1985 and continued in various forms after it left television. Colorful characters, beautiful women, and over-the-top comedy sketches were integral to the series' success. Most of the performers were actresses, models, dancers, and or stunt women hoping to get into show business through wrestling. Now, Mo, man, I was probably playing football either at Wharton County Junior College or I already got a scholarship to North Texas State University. I was a big, badass football player. And when GLOW came on wrestling, mister, I had a little bitty chump-ass color TV. Yes, it was color, man. I was high dollar back then.
Yeah.
It was the cheapest color TV I could find, but I watched GLOW wrestling every single time it came on. And I loved the entertainment factor of it. I loved, I just loved anything in a ring because I grew up when I was 7 or 8 years old, loving anything in a squared circle. And here today to help tell the story of the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling and the new DVD, which just came out, it's GLOW, the story of Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling, is my guest today, who I'm very happy to have as a guest here at the Steve Austin Show. I'm going to give you a little bit more history on her and why. But Little Egypt, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Happy to be here. Wow. Ladies, I'm in the man cave right now. I just want you to know what it looks like. I'm looking at Mo, who looks exactly like Andre Agassi, so that's pleasant.
It kind of looks like Andre Agassi meets Yul Brynner.
Yes.
Because he's better looking than Andre Agassi. And I'm straight, but you're a good-looking cat.
He is. So follow him on Twitter. What was your Twitter handle again?
At Mo Darwiche.
Do it.
Or follow me on the tennis court.
Yeah.
Follow you on the tennis court.
And then, this is top-notch, super-duper, high-tech. This is an incredible studio, Steve. Wow.
It's not bad. I mean, it's... it could be a lot worse.
It could be.
But we're not here to talk about this studio.
Okay.
We're here to talk about GLOW. Because, man, I tell you what, growing up back in the day, everybody knows I'm a pro wrestler, born and raised. I mean, I love that business. And so when GLOW came on back in the day, and I remember its debut in 1986, I was hooked. Hook, line, and sinker. I was in. I bought in. I love the characters. I love the storylines. It was a little on the campy side. I don't think a veteran or someone in today's business would go back and maybe watch anything that was going on in ring and mimic a style. But if I was to tell anybody listening to my voice right now, or anybody that has any kind of interest in the business of professional wrestling, that the story of Glow is a DVD which you must see. Because if you're a fan of the business, and I am, which you all know, you got to see this thing, because what you can get out of this DVD is a history of a 4-year spot, a 4-year spot in history of the business of professional wrestling, when a group of all women, who this thing was basically designed to be a tax write-off, Little Egypt,
absolutely,
and turned into a success. And the point I was trying to make is commitment to character, because all of the characters in Glow were so committed to who and what they were. And it was interesting to hear how everybody came up with their character, but everybody bought in. And you believed, as much as, there was disbelief, you believed who and what these gals were. So let's talk about the beginning of Glow. Whose baby was it? Was it David McLean?
Well, yeah, actually, it was David's idea to put a all-female wrestling show together. David comes from a promotional background. He from Indianapolis, Indiana. He comes from a very affluent family, and he loved wrestling. And so from the time he was in 8th grade, he was just absorbing everything he could about wrestling. He went to Dick the Bruiser's All-Star Wrestling, would sell photos of the wrestlers there. He'd make like $200 a night doing that. And so he eventually, in 1984, he becomes GM of Dick Bruiser's All-Star Wrestling. So he's got quite the experience to lead the charge of an all-female wrestling show, but to do something completely different, because everyone's got their own wrestling promotion. What could he do different? All-female wrestling. It was a really brilliant idea.
So when he came up with this idea, he was still in Indy and then moved to Vegas to accomplish this?
Well, he had his sources. His family was very well connected, and that's how he ended up meeting Rickless, who was the owner of the Riviera Hotel. He was married to Pia Zadora. He had other companies, Fabergé, Brut. That's why you saw it on the ring. We were doing commercials.
Oh, yeah, the commercials were built into the product.
Yeah, it was just one giant commercial with a wrestling-based entertainment factor. So it was a great product, and we were really happy to be a part of it. But that's what happened. So David meets Rickless. Rickless buys onto the idea with the contingency that they use his friend Matt Cimber, who was the director, who was a legend in Hollywood at the time, just finishing Butterfly, which was a movie with Pia Zadora, and then he's famed for his work with Hundra, which he won 3. He was nominated for 3 Golden Globes for that one. So he brought some skill.
Okay, so David McLean comes down from Indiana. He moves to Las Vegas because that's where you guys were operating out of, at a Riviera Hotel. He ties in with Rickless. He's the money guy. Rickless says, we've got to have Cimber to direct.
Yep.
So now we've got to start rounding up these gals to make up the roster. Now, this is interesting because, I know a lot of these, when you tell the story, well, let me ask about you first, because as we talked, you were working in Las Vegas. You were 19 years old, and you were working at a T-shirt shop. You were not a fan of professional wrestling.
No, I didn't watch it. I mean, everyone knew about it.
Sure.
Hulk Hogan, and I never followed it though aggressively.
Yeah. It wasn't like you had your hopes and dreams to be a pro wrestler.
Right, never even crossed my mind.
But you're a beautiful lady. There was an audition process, a casting call. And, initially I thought before talking to you that, you were trying to get into acting or modeling because of your looks. And that's not the case. You're working at a T-shirt shop, and Mount Fiji comes in.
To have a T-shirt made for a match. And here comes this 350-pound giant with the best smile and the most charismatic woman I've ever met in my life. I just couldn't stop talking to her. What do you do? What are you doing? Why? What's this T-shirt for? And she jumped right into, I want it for a man. I'm a wrestler, and she was so proud of it. And she looked at me and said, "You should do it too." And I'm not her size, but she knew in her, she knew what was cast. So she had a little Fiji, and so she knew little girls can make it. And she said, "You should come down to the Riviera and talk to David McLean." And I did, and then went right into training. My training was 2 weeks before I was in my first match, which is crazy.
Well, 2 weeks. Well, let's talk about the gathering of the girls for the first meeting. All y'all, they put the word on the street. They didn't say, hey, this is going to be a wrestling project.
Right.
You were brought in by Fiji, who said, hey, I think you'd be great for this. But everybody else just came under the assumption that they were trying to be actors, actresses, or models or whatever. This was a gig. They were going to an audition. All of a sudden, the 411 comes out that this is going to be a wrestling show. According to, who was that?
Hollywood.
Hollywood. 1/3 of the women get up and walk out.
That's right, they did. They did, and that's a testimonial from other girls, Tina Ferrari, Ashley, they all say the same thing. They just bailed.
So you're sitting there, you know what's going on. I mean, like, does everybody just start looking around and thinking, hey, what the hell is going on here? Can I do this? What intrigued them to want to stay aboard once they found out it was wrestling?
Well, this is where I guess women are defined by, you know, what they bring to the table. And it takes a certain kind of woman to get excited about wrestling. So the ones that stayed were the ones that were like, this is exciting, because wrestling is very exciting. Wrestling is, you know, when immediately they start going through their training with Mondo Guerrero, who's this legend.
Okay, but we so we got these gals in this room. Everybody's going to stay on board. We've got to have someone to train them. Y'all brought in, or who hired
David McLean.
David McLean reached out to Guerrero. Let me break down to all the wrestling fans out. Well, if you're a wrestling fan, you don't need to be broken down. If you're not a wrestling fan, anytime you mention a Guerrero's name, if any one of those cats comes from the Guerrero family, you've got instant credibility. You've got instant respect, universal, because the Guerreros are badass. And so Mondo comes on board to train all you gals. What is he thinking? Is it just a gig? It's a payday for him? Does he know what he's getting himself into? Because, again, for many gals who didn't even know it was going to be a wrestling call, and this is a highly athletic endeavor with skill involved.
Right.
He's getting people that are not just green, but extremely green and not used to pain.
Right. So I've talked to Mondo about this after the fact. I've gotten very close to Mondo, and he's an awesome guy, and that dynasty that he represents is incredible to wrestling history. The interesting part for Mondo, it did start as a payday, but he was very concerned about our safety the entire time. So it was really about the basics: taking a bump, landing flat, slapping out, chin to the chest, 3/4 rolls, all this stuff to keep us safe. Like, almost in the back of his mind, he might have prophesized that he wasn't going to be able to follow through with the rest of the training. So those basics were installed early on with all of us girls. When I came aboard, I was trained by Attaché, who was a wrestler trained by Mondo, but it was the same technique, it was the same drills, and so I feel like, in a way, that I was trained by Mondo as well. But Mondo's awesome because he's looking at these girls, right, and he's like, well, who are you? You know, you guys you're not bringing anything to the table but looks, and I got to try and keep you safe and teach you wrestling. And then he talks in the DVD about.
There's a little lack of respect by one of the participants. Break that story down for me, because he has a little come to Jesus meeting real quick to get some attention out of some of these cats.
Yeah, one of the girls was going, this is fake. This is so fake. And he puts her in a sleeper hold, and she passes out. He talks about her flopping around like a fish. Because in a sleeper hold, you can actually cut off someone's oxygen. And that's what happened. So he did that move on her. And then after that, those girls real quick got real smart and realized that this was not a game, that they, if they were going to pull this off, they better start taking their bumps seriously. And they did. And Tina Ferrari, who went on to become Ivory in the WWE, talks a lot about her respect for Mondo and what he brought to the table for all of us. And we love him. We absolutely love him.
Now, you guys going to training camp and you're coming out of a T-shirt shop. Were you pursuing anything in physical fitness? Were you working out?
I was just doing aerobics. Aerobics was big in the 80s. We were all doing
aerobics was big in the 80s, but, it's not like it's really going to prep you for what you're about to go through in a pro wrestling camp. And so you guys go to work in y'all's dojo, y'all's little training center, which was prehistoric, which would be a good way to put it, and a really ramshackle ring that was unsafe. The ropes were the drizzling shits, quite honestly. And so you guys are going through 2 periods of training a day, 4 hours apiece.
Right.
How was that? What were you guys eating? What was your dinner schedule? Give me the whole 411 on that process.
Okay, well, they didn't feed us. It was up to us to feed ourselves. But the impact on our body that we were feeling at that time, and God knows, how many bumps can you take in a day? And oh my gosh. So these girls were literally black and blue, because it's during this time that you get black. If you're not good at what you do, this is where you're going to get hurt. You're going to hurt people. Girls were still getting hurt in training. So, there was trickling out from almost think close to 100 girls that were cast to 30 that went to Las Vegas. So,
because I'm looking at you right now, you couldn't have been more than 100 pounds, and you're going against some of these women that are like 180 over 200. Aren't you scared when you're in a ring with a woman that big?
You know, I got to tell you, and you tell me what you think about this, Stone Cold. And usually when you're wrestling a giant, they're the most creative matches you can get into because there's very little that they're going to be able to pull off versus like athletically. So I loved wrestling Matilda and the Hun. I would wrestle her a lot. But I was really more frightened about the girls that were just a little bit bigger than me, that didn't take their jobs seriously, that were partying too hard, that were coming in stoned. You know, those were the girls that I was afraid of. And actually, those were the girls that I got hurt with.
Well, they don't really quite have the physical strength technique to pull across what they need to do. I mean, Matilda the Hun she looked awesome. She looked very safe to me and so strong and powerful that she could do exactly what she wanted, when she wanted, and how she wanted. Yeah. And so she always struck me as someone who would be very safe to work with. Nanechka really made an impression on me as well. I loved, the character aspect that everybody, undertook once they committed and bought in. And that was what was entertaining to me. But to go stick with the training thing, you guys are in the ring 4 hours in the morning, 4 hours in the evening. And the funny thing, when you first break into the business and you're going through that initial bump session, you're sore for about 7 to 12 days. You are intensely sore, and then your body starts to weather the storm. You're starting to toughen up like leather, and then you can bump all day long from then on out, and you're good to go. It's when you get off the ring and stay gone for 2 weeks, that's when you get the soreness again. So you guys got broke in. You're starting to toughen up.
Right.
How long was he taught you the basics, the bumping? How long was it before he started teaching you the moves and any semblance of psychology?
Okay, so that came very quick. Actually, we didn't have that left. Yeah, it was like those were your bumps. Now here's the psychology. This is how we're going to build a match. We knew who was going to finish and how the finish was going to come, but we got to develop our own matches. We had no input from any director or anything. So when you see those matches, those glow matches, those were just two girls working together or two tag teams working together. So that was really our creativity time. We loved it.
That is very interesting. No input from anybody else. It was just the gals out there working.
So then we had these dialogues. Like, if it was Nanechka, I felt really safe. So if she said, I'm going to put you in a backbreaker and then I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, I'm like, yes, I will do that. Another girl says she's going to do that to me. I don't trust her. I'd say, no, we are not going to do that. We are going to do this. If you want me to do that to you, I need you to do this to me. So, we do the trade outs based on our comfortability with each other.
So they come by, give you guys a finish, y'all create a match, and go out and do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's how it went. And we had 1 week to do it. And we also had, because we were a seasoned show, we had 2 to 3 matches that we were all doing a week. So when we had that week to put together a match, we were putting together, 3 matches a week.
Okay, now I understand watching the DVD, they kind of kept you guys sequestered. They kind of had you guys on a curfew, wouldn't let you go out and do a whole lot of things, kind of kept you reined in. Tell me about that.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? Because think about it, honestly, though. These are young 20-year-old girls in Vegas, right? Partying, amorous. They were just ready to rock and roll, let's say. And it was affecting their performances.
Really?
And, yeah, it was, because they wouldn't show up to training. All of a sudden, they were too tired. No, there was no accountability, so you had to kind of do it because everyone else was doing it. And so if you blew off a training or if you didn't show up to coordinate a match with someone, that was getting seen. And so in order to keep the kibosh on that from getting worse, certain rules started coming into play. Now, the first 2 seasons, they were better. They were more experienced as far as, because they were coming from LA. This was a launching pad. And then season 3 and 4, those were the women that were watching Glow that were like, I want to be a wrestler too. And so it was a totally different mindset. And so they were a little bit, they were a little bit more rambunctious, let's say. They had more fines assessed to them. I don't want to throw them under the bus. But they were some bad girls in season 3 and 4. Thank God for Big Bad Mama and Fiji reining them in.
So that they were kind of the police women of the locker room, so to speak.
Yeah.
So you guys, all of a sudden, this show takes off, and y'all are filming 26 episodes for a season.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And so when did you guys know that you were starting to become a success?
We didn't know. We when we finally got to go on tour, which was the end of the second season, that was our first tour that we did. We kind of went out there to make some extra money while we were on break. That's when we could tell by the audience, by the fan base, because they were keeping our fan letters from us. We didn't get a chance to know who liked who and how we were going over.
No feedback.
No feedback. Just the little group of people, the 300 people that would show up to watch the matches on match day. That, we were just going off of the oohs and the ahs and figuring out what would work, but we did not know until we got to go on tour, and then we were like, whoa, you could be walking down the street and someone yell, oh my God, it's Glow, there's Egypt, there's Nanuchka, there's Fiji, oh my God, and then she would just be taken in.
But so you guys are, you're turning into stars.
We didn't know it.
Didn't know it.
Yeah.
But y'all were initially living in the Riviera Hotel because of the connection with Rickless, who owned the Riviera Hotel. So the rooms are free. Then finally, why did they decide to move y'all out to get the houses?
Well, the girls were getting into a little trouble,
So it was trouble that facilitated that move.
Yeah, that's right.
But, when I saw you guys filing into the houses, heels and baby faces, and I was looking, I was like, man, this is like, well, probably then when they moved you into the houses, maybe 87, 88?
Yeah, towards the end.
So I'm thinking right there was the first ever reality television show, which would have been the greatest thing that never happened.
I know, if they would have just kept the cameras rolling.
And went inside the house. It would have been tremendous.
Yeah, they could have 20 years later, they would have had this great footage and made an awesome series. It would have been great.
So I'm listening to the stories, and Mount Fiji's talking, and she was telling the story about how she bought her own plane ticket to fly in. Did they reimburse her? Because the question I really want to get to is, y'all are working about 3 shows a week, correct?
Yep.
You're doing 26 shows in a season. What kind of money are you making?
I was making $350 a week when I was working. Now, hey, Grant, you have to know.
That ain't that bad.
19 years old working in a T-shirt store for $100 a week. That was awesome.
Yeah.
I only had to go to work for training and put together matches at all this free time. I could go do aerobics, and $350 a week. I was excited about that.
I broke into business in '89. I wasn't making $350 a week. I must have been doing something wrong.
You were taking the real bumps. You were out there learning the art of wrestling, which we didn't have that luxury. We were watching the WWF. We're like, okay, what do we do now? We got, we had to constantly stay creative, so we turn on the WWF and go, that worked, and when Roddy Piper did that, let's use that, and, Andre the Giant. We were watching it all, getting all excited.
So then who's basically running the show? Is it David McLean or Matt Simber?
It depends on what part of the show you're talking about.
Let's talk. We're in the initial phases. Okay, let's say we're deep into season 1, almost in season 2.
Yeah. So we've got David, who really wanted to take a more active approach in Glow,
but who's the booker?
Shut down.
Who's the booker?
It was Matt Simber.
Okay, Matt Simber's calling the shots.
Yeah, Matt Simber and the writer Steve Blantz, who was doing the storylines and writing the skits and the characters and all that stuff. So the more control that they took, the less they gave to David, till he just became a player. He didn't want to just be an announcer, but that's where he was going, and that was a shame to watch that happen.
Well,
because we loved him.
You brought up, what's the referee's name?
Steve Blantz.
Steve Blantz. We're gonna come back here with Little Egypt. We're talking about the gorgeous ladies of wrestling. I want to talk about Steve Blantz, the writer, referee, who was perfect for the part. A little bit about David McLean. I'm thrilled to have Little Egypt in the studio here today. Gimme Mo, take us in a break. A word from our sponsors. Coming back with more Glow with Little Egypt. All right, everybody, let's talk about Ting. Mo. Talk to me. Give me some technology information.
Man,
what is Ting?
Ting is awesome. It's a pay-as-you-go service that doesn't automatically bundle you into these unlimited fees, that most phone services do. It really just charges you for what you use. So it's fantastic.
So you're not locked in any kind of plan, and you pay for what you use.
Yeah, exactly. You're not logged into any plan. Based upon how much you use is what plans you fall into. And each different thing, minutes, text, data, is all charged separately. So depending on how much you use in each one, you just get put into that bucket.
So basically it breaks down like Ting is mobile that makes sense. And so the average guy would see me on the street and they say, well, Steve, how is Ting different? Well, let's go upon what we were just talking about. No contracts, truly and completely contract-free. No early termination fees. What does that mean to you there, Mo?
No early termination fees means if I want to get out, I could get out. I don't have to be stuck married to someone for 2 years. It's like, come on, I can't even stand women for 2 years. I got to stand my phone for 2 years.
The Steve Austin Show. The Steve Austin Show.
Geico asks, how would you love a chance to save some money on insurance? Of course you would. And when it comes to great rates on insurance, Geico can help. Like with insurance for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, and RV. Even help with homeowners or renters coverage. Plus, add an easy-to-use mobile app, available 24-hour roadside assistance, and more. And Geico is an easy choice. Switch today and see all the ways you could save. It's simple. Go to geico.com or contact your local agent today.
Welcome to the Steve Austin Show.
It's a wrestling jam. Come on, ladies, give us a hand. I'm talking to Little Egypt. The story of the gorgeous ladies of wrestling is a DVD. It's out. You should check it out. I watched it. I loved it. I'm talking to Little Egypt about life coming up, 86 to 90. It was a short run, but an intense run, and one that was so fun for me to watch. And before I want to segue off, I'll go right back. We were talking about the referee and who turned into a writer. So how did that happen?
Well, he was a writer that turned into a referee because we needed a referee. So he stepped in to do it. And he loved wrestling. This guy, he knew so much about the wrestling industry because he loved it. I mean, he's the one that got excited about like Mondo Guerrero and the legacy that we were developing. So
he was perfect for the part,
wasn't he?
I mean, for that environment, for that element, he was the perfect referee. He played it so well.
Yeah, he did, and he could take a bump. And he loved to sell. He loved it. And he knew he was a really good referee, too. I mean, he was really good at it.
So I want to know all the skits that you guys did. I mean, this is, very character-driven, a lot of skits, great comedy, just over-the-top stuff, which was so entertaining. Who wrote all the skits?
It was Steve.
Every one of those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, no. There was some like brainstorming moments with him and Matt. Like Matt will say, "Let's do this," and then Steve will develop it. But it was the creative was Matt and Steve, with the majority going to Steve on that.
Now, how long did it take to film those skits? Because, I mean, you guys were great in those things. I mean, you were committed to character, played the character so well. And did y'all have cue cards? Were y'all memorizing anything?
Oh, we memorized it, and they were all done at one time. We do like a whole season of Tips from Tina, done in like one half-hour episode. She just go 1, 2, and bang out like 12 of them. And then we did the bar scenes. They would just bang them all out at one time. So production-wise, it was really we were a tight-running ship, and we were making a lot of money for Rickless. Talking about character development, because one of the things that I don't see is playing out today is a big emphasis on characters in wrestling right now. Why do you think that is?
Well, I don't know. I just think. I don't know if it's the fear to commit to a character, and I really don't know how to answer that question because it's whatever you are, and this was in the DVD. When Matt Simber would watch you guys do your stretches and your warm-ups, he would walk through and kind of chit-chat with you guys and say, okay, this is who you are, turn it up. Mm-hmm. And, mm-hmm. I mean, and that's seemingly is the best way to go about creating a character, just magnifying who you are. And he was able to see that. So got to give the guy a lot of credit on that.
Oh, yeah, and he's a very creative man. I just, as a viewer, someone who watches wrestling now, I always think, man, why don't you just, like Karma right now, when she was in the WWE, that was a defined character. Like, that was defined. Like Fandango. You can watch Fandango right now in the WWE. That's a defined character. I mean, it's all from the dancing and the entrance to when he delivers a bump. I was doing that as Little Egypt. I would come out dancing, and then I'd have my finishing moves would always have some type of dancing element, and that's something that I thought I would like to see more of.
It was interesting. This was a quote out of the DVD, mm-hmm. and kind of the words to the effect that I said to and talking about the story when The Rock had some words for me in WrestleMania 19 in Seattle, that here's was a group of young ladies who went to audition for a process. It turned into pro wrestling. Everybody get bit by the bug, according to Tina Ferrari.
Right.
Everybody just fell in love with the business, and that's how powerful an attraction the business can be. But the love you guys all had for each other, the sisterhood and the camaraderie, the bonding, because I'm midway through this thing. I'm a super fan of Glow from '86 on. I watched the whole thing. And so I'm just watching the history. I'm finally getting my closure because I never knew what happened. I didn't know the end of the story. So this DVD comes out, it's finishing the story. Midway in, I really become invested because that's when the heart comes out. And I get to see how invested everybody was on a real deal human being level as a person that you guys had invested your lives in to being a wrestler.
And, I think that's like this hidden little part of our industry is that it's hard to make that comparison unless you've been in the ring and you've taken some bumps and you've fallen in love with it. When the movie transitions into the real human element, the story of the sisterhood, when I first came in to do my interview, we only had Hollywood and Matilda and like 3 girls from the second season. And I'm talking to the documentary guys. I'm like, where's everybody? Well, this is who we have, and I'm like, we need more. This is a really important story. This is going to define our legacy. Let's find them. So where a normal documentary might take 6 months to shoot and put in the can, this took 2.5 years because we were working with character profile names, and it was impossible to remember what their real name was, and then they get married and their back name changes, and it was just a real labor of love. But then by the time we got to that part where the movie transitions, we had close to 40 girls showing up to embrace each other and live out our dreams, to talk to each other again, because that's what it really was about for us. It's like getting back and going, can you believe we did that? That was crazy, but we love each other.
But it was interesting for me just how you got into the business. Y'all paid dues.
Yeah.
You paid your dues. You had a great Mondo Guerrero as a trainer, and then y'all became sisters.
Yeah.
Through the business, you put in your blood, sweat, and tears, and you also got hurt a lot.
Yeah.
When you watch this stuff, some of the action isn't over the top, but like we were talking on the phone the other day, you can run across the ring, just running the ropes, doing the simplest thing, and that's when you can blow something out. But how are you feeling these days? Because in your career, you've had 2 torn rotator cuffs. You've got a torn ACL. Did you ever have that thing fixed?
Nope, never did.
How are the shoulders doing? How's your body in general? You look like $1,000,000, but how you feeling?
Well, as long as I keep everything tight, everything feels better. As long as I keep working upper body and as long as I keep my legs strong, that creates like its own little brace, like this human little brace that's going to keep me together. If I get lazy, then my arm could pop out. It's just.
What are you doing for your workouts these days?
Oh, I'm not what you're doing, Steve.
No, but you're doing something.
I walk a lot and I just do some light weights and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm staying active and I'm enjoying where I'm living in Laguna Beach. So I'm just trying to keep moving, keep my body moving. That's like my mission in life.
Susie Spirit had a devastating arm break right in her elbow joint.
Oh, I know.
It's hard for me to watch because I don't like watching people get injured. What was the medical process? You guys, when you go down, get injured, who's footing the bills on that? They take care of you guys?
Yeah, we had workman's comp. We had a physical therapy place that we would go to and try and rehab ourselves as best we could so we can get back in the ring as quickly as possible. So we had paramedics on site to do the small stuff, and then if we needed to be transported, like I had to get transported to the hospital when I blew out my ACL, those are things that were all covered by the Riviera Hotel.
Now, there's a clip of you, that bump you take, that's the torn ACL?
Yeah, it's
You're
like
going
a
in for a
headbutt. How embarrassing is that?
But,
I mean, God, that's like the easiest move ever.
No, I mean, one time we were working in Hamilton, Ontario. The crowd was, it was a bad house.
Yeah.
And it was like a 6-man tag. And, I remember we said, hey, man, everybody just kind of chill out there, be cool. And Triple H goes out and blows out a knee. And, we were just going to go out and kind of take it easy. We certainly want to give the fans their money's worth.
Yeah.
But sometimes, man, you can get away with a big-ass suplex from the top turnbuckle onto the floor. Then you can run across the ring and something goes. Sometimes it's just bad luck. That's just the way things go.
Yeah. And see, that's another thing, Steve. The workers that are out there from the beginning of time, anyone who was ever interested in wrestling that stepped in the square circle, we have a short shelf life. We don't know when our expiration date's going to come up. That's so painful in a way because you really love this industry and you love this sport and you feel like when you lose one, okay, because we were watching girls that I love to wrestle with take these big, these huge injuries, and then they were out, and then we lost contact with them, and then you feel like you lost a family member.
Listen, I want to talk about this because this really resonated with me. All of the gals, and particular Mount Fiji, and you were pretty emotional as well, said that Glow, for a 4-year period, was the highlight of their life. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Every woman on the DVD loved the time that they spent in the ring, and by and large, it was the high point of everyone's life. So talk about that, and let's talk about your transition to get out of that business, because it wasn't easy for you.
No, it wasn't. And talking to you, Steve, is so cool because I feel like I'm talking to a comrade, of arms, that it doesn't matter what promotion you're in, a bump is a bump. Okay?
Yes.
It feels the same if you're in a house of 50 or 20,000. A bump's a bump. We work the same way with everybody. We love each other. And to hear you say that is really heartwarming because I feel like we're understood. And that was one of the things that we had to deal with when we left the show is how do you explain this to people that aren't in the industry? Because we didn't have a social network. It was just like, wow, I'm hurting right now. Wish I could talk to someone. I better just put this behind me and move on with my life. So that's what, not just me, and I did, but a lot of the girls had to do that in order to transition. Because if you hang on to that, Steve, if you're hanging on to hopes and dreams of coming back in, you're going to make the worst mistakes. You're going to make bad decisions. You're going to fall for whatever it is you need to hear to buy into the belief that there's still hope, and you've got to let that go. So yeah, our industry has a very short shelf life, and we don't know when we're gonna get knocked out. And for me, I was 2 seasons.
So what was your process? You're out of the business.
Yeah.
How do you cope? What'd you do?
Well, okay, so I went, David McLean had left season 2, and he took the entire cast with him, except for like 3 or 4 girls. So because we loved David, because David was one of us. David was in the ring with us, and David loved wrestling, and we loved wrestling, and we believed David when he said...
So David was one of the gals, and I mean that in the right way.
Yeah, he was. Man,
he was in. He was cool.
He was so cool. And so we went with him on the POW tour, and I, at this point, was still recovering from a bad knee, so I worked as Palestina's manager, the terrorist manager, and I'm like going, this is really cool of David. He's putting me on the tour. I'm going around, and I just feel like now I'm just taking advantage. Like, this isn't where I'm not going to be a manager the rest of my life, so this is short-lived, and I need to, at the end of this cycle, I'm going to take off. I'm going to start looking for something else to do. And that was my story. I found, I got into real estate sales for 20 years.
Let's talk about your real estate career. There in Las Vegas, 20 years worth. We talked a little bit last night, and I always think real estate's like it's glamorous business. And, you look on the real estate guide here in Los Angeles, you'll see like a crib in Malibu, $15 million, and some cat just sold it, and you're thinking about the commission. Yeah. It's not all that in a bag of chips, is it?
No, it's not, Steve. And a lot of people don't realize if you're going to do numbers, and I did in 20 years of real estate, I closed over 1,000 sales. Okay, so I had a really good career, and I built a referral business. And to do that, you got to do good work, or no one's gonna call you or give you a name of a friend. So with that said, I feel like the real estate industry, the truth of the real estate industry is your sales are coming from divorces, bankruptcies. When you have to move. No one wants to sell their house when they're happy. They're happy, they're staying.
What you're saying sounds very true to me because I've been there, done that. Now that you said that, that's interesting.
You're like, oh yeah, that's when I sold, right?
But so check it out. You're at the T-shirt shop. You're 19. Did you end up going back to college to get a degree, or you just got your real estate license?
I couldn't do college, and like many of the girls that I was working with, I had ADD. Okay, and we didn't.
Really?
There was no learning disability program to help me get through my studies and stuff. So I just found, like so many people that suffer with ADD, it's just like it's hard and you just fade out.
Right.
And so I'm like, okay, so I don't have a college degree. I'm young. How can I convert my energy into as much money as possible? A booming real estate market in Las Vegas. I got in there, and you don't need to have a college degree to turn over. You
just got to work.
You got to
work hard.
And you know what? And that means rejection, and that means getting your sales skills down. And I had a lot of life experience in those 20 years.
Yep.
And you had to learn how to live a certain way because you're 100% commission. So it's kind of a totally different feel. But those skills I was able to convert into finding these girls in the DVD, into forming everything that we're experiencing now at the CAC and how we can come together on a yearly basis. All that stuff, I'm using my real estate skills to do that.
Real estate skills.
Yeah.
Let's talk quickly about the doors close.
Yeah.
1990, everything stops. Let's talk about why Glow stopped. Because, am I correct? Glow was it started just to be a tax write-off?
Yes, it did.
And it turned into a success.
Right, it
All of a
did.
sudden, you guys were in 200 markets.
Yep.
You guys are stars and don't even know it. You
Yep.
start going out, everybody recognizes you.
Yeah.
They're going crazy. They want autographs. You're the biggest kept secrets. Everybody knows the secret except y'all.
Yeah, that's so true.
So all of a sudden, everything from supposed to fail, making money, then the door's shut.
Yeah.
What's the deal? What's the bottom line on why this thing shut down?
Well, okay, so here's the thing, too.
Say what you can say.
Okay, yeah, it's when the doors shut, they didn't even tell the girls. It was just a break.
Wow.
We were getting ready to start season 5. No one got called back. All their stuff was left at the Riviera Hotel. A lot of their costumes, things that were all being stored in a warehouse, and they were all just thrown into a dumpster, and the girls were told there's going to be no season 5. Why it happened? Because Rickless, the owner, didn't want to put any more money into it. Why? Because he couldn't keep his pecker in his pants. That's why.
Couldn't keep his pecker in his pants. He was messing around with a gal or two, and he was married to Pia Zadora at the time, and she said, hey, mister, you better shut this thing down or I'm out of here, which she ended up pulling a Hank and getting out of there anyway, right?
Yes. And isn't that a shame?
No, it is a shame, because but I never knew what happened. And this is why I enjoyed this DVD, the story of the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling, so much, because it gave me closure. I'm getting closure from Little Egypt. I'm having a great conversation with you. Let's go back here. I want to cherry pick through some of these names. And who are some of these people that really resonated with you that you still think about? I mean, I know Big Bad Mama.
Yeah.
We lost her not too long ago.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago.
Watching her on the DVD do her interviews, just such a cool lady, and she was an older lady at the time, but just an older soul.
Yeah.
Someone with who had experienced a lot and just would be the ultimate person I'd like to sit down and talk to.
Oh, that's so cool. It's funny that here's what's great about Big Bad Mama and what she represents to female wrestling, and what the Glow product was able to do for her was Glow said you don't have to fit a cookie cutter mold. You don't have to be a gorgeous lady of wrestling to work at Glow.
Right.
And so she saw Matilda, she saw Fiji, and she said, this is for me. This is what I want. She knew when they were casting for season 3, she drove from Victorville to Las Vegas to attend the casting call there. She slept in her car with her kids. She wanted this. She wanted this. She loved being a wrestler more than anything. These were the best days of her life, too.
That's interesting. I really like listening to her talk. Matilda the Hun.
What a
character. I loved her. Oh, my God. I loved her. She was crazy. I mean, just so vibrant and full of life. And now, I mean, she's a big lady.
Yeah.
And she's had, some health issues.
Yeah.
But, I mean, alive and kicking and just,
She just finished her autobiography, and
I want to read that.
I read it, and let me tell you, it is as rated R as your show. It is. She came up from, oh my God, like the 60s love fests. Okay.
Yeah.
And then she pioneered, she wanted to be a wrestler when being a wrestler was not cool. Like when it was just kind of your mom in a bathing suit kind of thing. She wanted to impact. She started mud wrestling. She couldn't do anything to try and get into the ring. She fought her way into that. And Glow was her baby too. She got to consult a lot on the beginning of the creative part of Glow with Matt Simber. So David wasn't really crazy about what Matt was doing with these big girls. He was like, no, we are going to be beautiful, gorgeous ladies of wrestling. Matt was, no, we are going to be character driven. See how they were coming to terms with that? If you look at what David McLean's doing right now, he has the WOW promotion. If you want to see David's dream for Glow, go watch WOW, because that is his vision playing out.
So Matt Simber was a key element in the success of Glow.
Absolutely.
From a vision standpoint.
Absolutely.
It was you gals out there doing the work, but he had the correct vision
I thought so because look at the history. After Glow stopped, after 4 seasons, it went into global syndication for 10 years. People raised their kids on Glow in Brazil, South America, all the Argentina. I still get people that are fans that are like starting at 10. And I'm like, there's like, how are you watching this? You're 10 years old. How can you be a Glow fan? But they're raised on it. Their families were raised on it. And when you're selling to syndicated markets and they buy only a limited, like the first 2 seasons, let's say, of Glow, they'll play that 70 times. You know, they'll play it 70 times in a month. So they're going to memorize these skits, and they'll have our raps memorized. And that was another thing with Glow, with the raps were so unique. Cause
the raps were great.
Yeah, it was awesome. I loved it.
Did y'all enjoy doing those?
Loved it.
We all think, hey, man, this is so Chicago Bears, or hey, man, this is so cool.
It was like, hey, this is so cool. I got a rap. I have a rap. I mean, I have my own
rap. And by and
rap.
large, y'all were pretty musical. I mean, y'all were supposed to get Grammys or nothing, but I mean, it was a very entertaining, well-done stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I'm wondering, like, you know, if you would have a rap, what would it be?
No, I don't rap.
No. We could produce a video and make him rap.
Okay, we'll do it, Mo.
Yeah.
Give me Mo.
I want to see a rap.
Okay, you're in the business. 2.5 years?
Yeah, well, 2 seasons. So
but you never get out of the
years.
business. If you never retire, you're always in the business. So you're still in the business. So my question for you now is, you've been inside the ropes. You've been in the ring. You've taken your bumps. You paid your dues. So now, what's your take on the state of women's professional wrestling?
Okay, I love what the girls are doing. Okay, they're doing a lot more technically advanced wrestling than we ever did. Okay, so the quality of the wrestling that we're seeing is great. I'm not seeing enough of it. I want to see more character-driven profiles. Which
Agree.
When I saw Karma come up, I remember telling I'm like, that's a character. Let's get more of those. Different sizes. Let's put different women in different costumes. Let's face paint. Let's create more skits, environments to develop a character if we have to. If we're not getting ring time, then give us skit time. Do something so that we continue to go over when we do get into a ring. And so I'm a big advocate on trying to constantly push a character profile in the women's division. And it works. I mean, it's successful. You
got to have a character. The character sells the tickets. You can have anybody out there running a mechanically perfect match.
Right.
You know, I did that as Stunning Steve. It didn't work so well. I mean, I had respect among my peers as far as being a capable guy in the ring, and I was a cool guy to hang out with, and I was one of the boys. But until I came into the Stone Cold thing, that's when the tickets started flying out.
Yes.
What else would you do with the women's division of professional wrestling right now?
Give them some managers.
Give them some managers.
Yeah, why not? I think that would be so fun. I know AJ's a manager, but she's more like a manager for the guys. She doesn't, she doesn't come out and at the sidelines with any of the girls during their matches or anything like that. But I would love to see someone like a Jimmy Hart manager, someone like, we had Jackie Stallone as our manager, the good girl manager. We had Rocky's mom. So
how did Jackie Stallone decide you want to come in? Long story short, how'd you get her in?
She knew Matt Simber. She was a work. She was paid for her services. She came in. She did her raps. But we loved it when we saw her because we couldn't wait to talk to her about Sylvester Stallone.
Well, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
Jack Stallone comes on to be a part of Glow.
Yeah, absolutely. So why not someone like someone similar, a high-profile woman that could be a manager for the women's division? I think that would be badass.
They need to do that, but it's got to be a dedicated manager. I mean, a real manager in the vein of someone who's committed totally just being that and maintains that their entire career and establishes credibility as a manager and as a personality. And I'm going to come back. We're talking to Little Egypt. We're talking the story of gorgeous ladies of wrestling. I'm having a goddamn blast. So is Gimme Mo. We're going to be right back after a word from our sponsors. We're going to wrap this thing all up and get on down the roads. Come on back.
Welcome to the Steve Austin Show.
Oh, you want me to rap? I'll rap for your ass. Gorgeous ladies of wrestling. We're all champions in the ring. We come from the streets. We come from the city. We come from the world where there is no pity. Hey,
Wham, bam, it's a wrestling jam. Come on, ladies, give us a hand.
Oh, hell yeah. Coming back, I'm sitting here with Little Egypt. We're talking about the gorgeous ladies of wrestling, the story of the DVD. It's out. It's available. You can get this thing on Amazon.com. If you're a wrestling fan of any degree, this is must-see material. I enjoyed the living hell out of it. I don't flap my gums about anything I don't believe in. It's a great watch. I'm going to get down to my rating here in a little bit. But let's talk, going back, Little Egypt, Angelina, host of AfterBuzz, Redneck Island. Guy had a blast hanging out with you guys the other day.
That was so fun.
I want to come back for the finale here in a week and a half.
Okay, please. Yeah,
I can't make this next one, but I had a good time hanging out with you
Done.
guys. And your Jacob, Catfish, did a good job, too. And of course, it's always just nice to meet Les. Hey, let's talk about the reunion, because this was a lot of work to put this thing together. And this is your brainstorm to get the gals back together, correct?
Well, yeah. See, with this documentary, we didn't know how it was going to finish. We didn't know Fiji was going to tell us what she told us, that she was going to be destitute and that she was going to, that she wanted to see how we were doing. And we're like, well, let's figure out a way for Fiji to see us, and that's how this documentary organically evolved. It was all organic. Everything that you're seeing in this documentary is exactly how it played out. And this is the only Glow reunion that is. You'll see girls at this reunion that don't want to have a public profile, but they're here for Fiji. So they drove. There was no money in this for anybody. Right. They had to get there on their own accord, and it was such a beautiful moment for all of us to share with Fiji, because we kept it as a surprise. And she didn't know that we were all going to be standing there for her when the door opened up. And we didn't know if Matt was going to be there. We didn't know who was going to end up showing up. And, it just was meant to be, because it was such a beautiful time for all of us. So glad Big Bad Mama was able to share in that, now that she had just passed, that she always had those memories with us, and we have those memories with her. So it was just a gorgeous time. Explain to me,
and you're getting a little emotional right now, explain to me what it was like to see everybody, because sometimes you get away from things so long, and it's like the memories are so strong that you kind of do want to see everybody, but you don't as well, because you've separated. So how was the reunion? What was it like to have all the girls back together again?
You know what? It was so awesome. And for me, because I was kind of spearheading this whole campaign of finding the girls, I got to know the third and fourth season girls. And I was wondering, when we all get into a room, are the first two seasons going to hang out together? Are they going to want to engage with the third and fourth season? Because they didn't. This is the first time they met each other. Yeah. No communique whatsoever. But we're in this room, and that didn't matter who you are. There was that sisterhood. There was this camaraderie that you were in the trenches, and we all had the same story. It was the same director. We all felt, the abuse that we got when we were, getting pressure cooked by this man. And it was just a really beautiful time. Now, Fiji being one of the only girls to go all 4 seasons, so it was nice that they all came together for her.
Let's talk briefly about what the girls have done post-Glow. Because I know you're very passionate and outspoken about what guys and gals do once they leave the squared circle. So how seemingly has everyone made the transition post-ring?
Most of them all made a great transition. I'm very happy to report that all the girls that I'm in communication with all have happy lives. I think the reason I don't know where the rest of them are maybe is because of sad stories or whatever is going on. But the ones that I am aware of, the ones that you can connect with on social media, are all very mentally healthy and happy to engage with you. We have had times since this documentary where one girl's been down and out, and this is all back-end stuff, but we are there on these large, mail feeds on Facebook, and we're sending out the love and doing what we can to support each other in their time of need.
Well, with that being said, is there anything you can provide, a website, so they can get their social media information active or available?
Yeah, if anyone is looking, here's the best thing to do. If anyone wants to know where their favorite Glow girl is, I know where they're at. On my Facebook profile, Glow Little Egypt, go to the notes section, look for Glow Girls on Facebook. Every link is there. Glow Girls on Twitter. Every link is there. I will get you connected to your girls if they're available to get connected to. And you'll be able to engage and share your memories with your favorite glow star. Who is one of your favorite, well, obviously besides me. I'm not going to put that pressure on you, but who did you enjoy?
Well, I had a crush on Tina Ferrari, but I always had a thing for Nanuchka, too. She was just that short haircut, the Russian accent. I just thought she was a pretty lady.
Yeah.
And I loved her shtick. I loved her character. I loved the way she conducted her business. But so I had many favorites.
Can we talk about Tina Ferrari? Because later in life, you got to work with her in the WWE.
Well,
what was that like?
Like you said, earlier, turned into Ivory.
Yeah.
And, man, she had a hellacious career, 3-time WWE champion. And she was the only glow girl to go into the next regime or to the next level.
Right.
And had a wonderful career. And I know she's now she does a lot of stuff with animals.
Yeah,
she's pursuing her passion.
Uh-huh.
She seems very happy.
Yes.
And by all accounts, from what I've seen of her and on the video, on the DVD, is still beautiful, still put together, and still keeping in shape.
Yeah, and for those Ivory fans out there, she is now coming back into the fold through the Cauliflower Alley Club. She wants to work within that organization to promote what she can. She's been asked to do a seminar, so kind of give her credit. And so for the new people coming to the CAC, you'll probably see a seminar from Lisa next year.
Is she on Twitter?
She is not. She doesn't do Twitter. She doesn't really do Facebook. I try and promote everything that she's doing and to try and keep her name up there. She just loves her dogs, and she's not really that interested in
Lisa,
connecting
jump
with them.
on board on some level, please. Stay in touch with you. Hey, before we wrap up, let's talk about one thing you said when we were talking. One of the reservations you had when y'all got hot and rolling, y'all were worried, as the women of Glow, concerned about the backlash from the other wrestling organizations.
Oh, right. Well, because it's not just that, we were actually making fun of wrestling. Matt couldn't give a rat's ass about wrestling. David did. We wanted to provide really good wrestling content in our show. Matt couldn't care less about that. He was skid-oriented character development. So we were thinking, oh my gosh, are we ever going to run into someone and then just get pelted, for breaking kayfabe?
For what, not just for destroying the business from these see-through storylines? But that was... Glow was exactly what it was supposed to be. It was true to its nature. Yeah. That's what I loved about it. It was upfront and honest.
Why do you think nothing else has come after this, anything similar to Glow that's really stuck? Why did it stick in the 80s, but it's not sticking now?
That's a very good question. It's a very good question. But and in thinking of that question, I just think, an all-woman roster, the time was right, the chemistry was right. I just start thinking about the element or the women's professional scene now, and I just would love to see more characters like there were back then.
Cool. I do too.
Chicks are, and hell, this applies to the guys too. Like I say, if you're in the business and you're currently performing in the ring, you can learn something from this DVD by the commitment to character these women commit to. I mean, because you guys, once you're in, you're in.
Yeah.
Back at the camp, like when you get on the road, everybody called me Steve, but at work, everybody called me Stone Cold. At the Combine, back when you guys were left to your own devices, y'all never broke character. You were Little Egypt. Mm-hmm. Tina was Tina. Mm-hmm. Mount Fiji was Fiji. Yeah. Big Bad Mama was Mama. Y'all didn't know each other's real names.
No. It made it so hard to find everyone when we needed to. So I agree. Yeah, we loved that. And now when I hear my name called, when someone says, "Hey, Little E," I know if you're going to be using my name like that, you're either invested in wrestling, or we have some type of similar story that's going to bind us together. And so I take my nickname very seriously. I wear it with a badge of honor, and we all do. And every Glow girl that's listening to this right now is like, "Go Egypt," because they want you to know that they loved the wrestling. That we were apprehensive about how we were going to be taken by the wrestling community, and honestly, it took Carl Lauer reaching out to me on Facebook saying, "You got to come to a Cauliflower Alley Club," and I went by myself the first time because I didn't know. I didn't know if they were going to be like, "Get out," because one of the girls last year didn't want to talk to me because I was a Glow girl. One of the girls from the WWE getting inducted did not want to talk to me because I was a Glow girl.
Well, I'll say this to that. My name is Stone Cold Steve Austin. I was a big-ass Glow fan. I'm glad you're on my show. That's how much I believed in it. That's how much I believe in this DVD. Let's talk about the DVD one last time, because one of the things, I watched this thing twice. You know that. And then I watched what I loved about it, there's so many bonus features. All the skits, different profiles, different gals, interviews, what they're doing now. What I missed was audio commentary because I didn't go under the sound setting. And I was looking for that to fill in a little bit of lack of information on David McClain and a little bit more information on Matt Simber. But I understand in the audio commentary, you guys bring the 411 and fill in a lot of gaps with that, correct?
We do, and I'm sorry.
I missed that. My apologies. I'm not a technology guy.
Are you kidding? Our apologies. How about let's make that a little user-friendly? How about like menu, bonus clips, Billy Corgan interviews, so-and-so. It wasn't done like that, and I apologize, but that bonus reel with Billy Corgan, lead singer of the Smashing Pumpkins, doing the question and answer segment, we do give you the 411 on David and Matt and the behind-the-scenes feel from me, Hollywood, Matilda the Hun. We're doing it. And so even though you can get Glow right now free on Logo TV because that's where it's airing, you can, but it's missing 14 minutes of good content because of the commercial interruptions. So you're kind of seeing 3/4 of the Glow movie. If you need to see it for free, that's the way to do it. Or you can go rent it online for $3.99. But if you get the DVD for, I think it's like $15 or something really outrageously cheap.
It's worth it.
You get to go to Amazon.com, get it, because it's the bonus reel that is so awesome and amazing, and it's such a nice addition to the whole Glow story. It finishes the Glow story for us.
Yeah, hell, you can go to PodcastOne.com, click on the Steve Austin Show banner, click on the Amazon banner, then get the story of the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. And, you know, I had a 5-star rating. I had initially given this a 3.5, and I gave it the 3.5, and that's a great mark because of the missing information on Simber McClain. But that was also based on the fact I couldn't find the audio commentary. Now that I know that's there, I'm bumping it up to a 4. I'm going to go home and listen to that. But that's what I think about this DVD. You give me the information that I missed in the video presentation.
Yeah.
So now that I know that, I'm giving it a solid 4 out of 5 stars. And again, I highly recommend the story of the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling.
Now, on that bonus feature, Matt Simber does get interviewed.
Okay, so that's helping a brother out here. I dig it.
After he saw it and he felt safe, he stepped up to give us his interview. That is on the bonus feature.
Well, tell us one more time. You're on Twitter, @Little
Yes.
Your Facebook is what?
My first name is Glow. My last name is Little Egypt combined. And I also have the official page of Little Egypt. So if you're looking to connect with the Glow family, if you want to fall in love with Glow all over again, if you want to become connected with us again, connect with me first, and I will send you to the right direction. I will take care of you. We want to connect with our fans again. We loved you. We've always loved you, and we want to come back and embrace the whole Glow phenomenon with you again.
Give me Mo. I'm going to buy this. You know what? I'm going to bring my DVD and I'm going to send it home with your ass because I want you to watch this damn thing. You missed out a lot, you young whippersnapper.
I did. I need to get educated. I was looking at some of you women on YouTube. Jeez, you women were hot. Hot women wrestling.
Yeah, there were some beauties. Oh, my God.
But there were some great personalities.
Yeah.
And I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall living at those damn houses.
Yeah.
That would have been a damn
Are you
train wreck.
kidding? We would have loved to have you living in the house.
Yeah.
The girls would not have been running around the casino had they had known that they could get their hands on Stone Cold.
Matilda the Hun would have got a hold of my ass.
You know what? She would have, and she wouldn't have shared. See, that's the thingy. She wouldn't have shared. So.
I would have loved to just be working room service at that casino.
There you go. Give me Mo. Got the good idea there. Anybody, you got anything else, Mo?
Nah, that's going to be it.
What else can we talk about, Little Egypt? Let's wrap this thing up. We got the go home sign.
Well,
got Glows. Go ahead.
I just want to say, Stone Cold, thank you for putting us over because, this is a part of our wrestling history that doesn't have a big promotion behind it to push it forward. That we don't have a Hall of Fame. We don't have an organization behind us feeding any money into keeping this fire going. So thank you for adding some more fuel to the fire and giving us, your thumbs up on the DVD because with that endorsement, that comes to us and we wear that with a lot of pride and we think, well, we got Stone Cold's endorsement, so go screw yourself if you didn't like it. It's not my problem.
You got my endorsement. I'm a big fan of anything that happens in the ring. I grew up watching Glow. It's a big part of my life. And I enjoyed the years of entertainment. nice to finally know why the doors closed on that upstart federation, organization, gals in the ring, gorgeous ladies of wrestling. I know the story. I was sad a little bit because I didn't want to know, but I'm happy because I had to know. I got all the information I needed to know. I'm going to go back and listen to the audio commentary. This is Steve Austin. I want to thank Little Egypt for driving down here to Hollywood, California to be on the show. Check out this DVD. It's a bad sumbitch. I'll catch your ass down the road.
This has been a Podcast One production. Download new episodes of The Steve Austin Show every Tuesday at PodcastOne.com. That's PodcastOne.com.
All this month, stream the funniest films for free on Pluto TV. Watch comedy classics like Anchorman, The Legend of Ron Burgundy, and Mean Girls. Or drop in for a Tyler Perry marathon with a Medea family funeral and Medea's witness protection. Pluto TV also has hundreds of channels and thousands of movies and TV shows like Get Shorty, Be Cool, Key and Peele, Comedy in Color, and more. And no contracts, no subscriptions, no fees, no joke. So download the Pluto TV app on your favorite streaming device and start laughing today. Pluto TV, drop in, watch free.
Hey, this is Adam Carolla. Let me tell you about my podcast. We do it every single day, so you can subscribe, and there'll always be a fresh one waiting for you. It's about 2 hours of topical topics, and news, and guests, and comedians, and, of course, my own vitriolic take on just about everything that's going on in the world. Plus, we get a lot of really interesting, notable people who come in. We'll get politicians, we'll get tastemakers, we'll get stand-ups, we'll get authors, we'll get pundits, we'll get, I think about covers it all, celebrities as well. And we'll do some really interesting interviews with them. You can get The Adam Carolla Show wherever you download your podcast.